Welcome to Straight No Chaser. So grab a glass and join your hosts, your girl Ann BZ, Pastor C, Thin Bad, and the Chief. Welcome to Straight No Chaser. Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, family. Welcome to Straight No Chaser, where we never dilute the issues, we only serve the hard stuff. Well, folks, we are still in the middle of this awful pandemic. We've lost a lot of lives. Over 1 million people have become ill, and unfortunately, we've had over 60,000 fatalities. Wow. And it is safe to say that during this whole pandemic situation, we've all tried to quarantine ourselves and stay away from people and practice social distancing and all those things and wear masks. And I think it's safe to say that we've eaten every form of chicken, arranged every closet, painted every wall, caught every rerun of the NFL's greatest games, and now people want out. They want to get out of their houses. Schools are closed, malls are closed, churches closed, salons are closed, and people, quite frankly, they're ready to get out. But is it safe to do so? You know, unfortunately, as the numbers continue to pile up and the deaths continue to happen and the illnesses continue to mount, there are still folks that want to get out. There's still people that don't believe that they should be wearing masks. There's still folks that are walking around, believe it or not, with no protection. They're not practicing social distance. And there are even some folks, as we saw in Chicago the other day, that think that having a house party with over 500 people is the way to go. So where are we headed with this thing? This has just gotten out of hand in certain situations. But now certain governors, well, all the governors are actually looking at how they're going to reopen their states. But some governors are really going fast out of the gate. And so tonight we want to talk about church and state. Is it too soon to reopen? And to help us with this, of course, is our friend, Dr. Eugene Albright from Riverside, California. Welcome, Dr. Albright, to the show again.
Thank you, Mike, for having me.
Yes, sir. And of course, it's always a pleasure to have you on Straight No Chaser, because we always value your input and we want to hear from you tonight. And we have a whole lot of questions to ask you around opening up too soon and doing those types of things. But before we get into that, I'm sure Thin Bad has a lot of things he wants to say. So Thin Bad, take it away.
Yeah, you know, it is, as you laid the groundwork, it's crazy out here to think, you know, that we're still in the midst of this pandemic, and people are talking about, you know, closing states, yet there's not sufficient testing. There's not, you know, if you got tests, you can't get the results back. All kinds of things that are happening here, and it just seems that, you know, folks are really don't know what to do. They're tired of each other in the house. They're you know, you can't go outside. You're getting different things. You know, you don't know what to believe what you're hearing on television.
Sure.
You can't listen to what's coming out of DC's mouth, because that's crazy. I mean, we've had people talking about, you know, just all the craziness. I don't even want to repeat it. It was so crazy.
Sure.
But and as you know, you can see all of the states. I was looking; they were listed. You know, most of them have. Not every state, obviously, but most of them have dates that, you know, some are, their stay-at-home thing ends tomorrow at the end of April. Some go, I don't know what you all doing in Nevada there, Chief, but I think your stay-at-home ends tomorrow. Here in North Carolina, they've extended it to the 8th of May, which is only another week. So clearly he must be looking at, the possibility of opening up or relaxing some of this stuff moving forward. And for what? They're talking about the economy. We can't take the kind of hits that we take financially, but so you kill all the people who are, you put all the people at risk who are going to keep pumping the economy up. I mean, that's the question. That's what it comes down to, is what's the value here? Lives over the dollar. And we've seen time and again, historically and otherwise, where that seems, they're going to choose the dollar.
Exactly. Exactly.
Choose the dollar, unfortunately.
That's right.
But I'm glad you've got Dr. Albright on here, because that's the question. Is it too soon? I mean, I think many of us believe that, but oddly enough, there are a great number of folks out there who really don't believe it, who I don't care if people are talking conspiracies and other things. I don't care if it's conspiracy or not. It's real. However it got here, it doesn't matter. It's killing folk. So, I don't want, damn if I want to die from a conspiracy or anything else too soon. But Doc, what are your thoughts around, as the chief laid out, earlier? Is it too soon? Is it too soon?
Well, my opinion is simple, that this is the first time that I've been a doctor for about 40 years. And this is the first time ever that I can remember a situation where the medicine and the science doesn't come first. And it's because of our leadership. And the reason why people are confused and the reason why some people don't believe it is because our leader of the free world has planted all kind of doubt in the minds of the country. Now, the healthcare officials involved have been very clear all along, and they've said the right things all along. But of course, our spokespeople, Anthony Fauci and Dr. Birx, are afraid to death to tell the truth, in its actuality, because they know what will happen to them. And that we've seen it happen to others. So they're trying to stay alive and keep their position so they can do the best they can. But when they know the guy in charge is so off base, they try to tell us, but they have to say it in a way that is not as forceful as we need to hear it. And that, I think, has caused this disinformation has caused a lot of people to say, wait a minute, is this really something or whatever? Now, in terms of opening too soon, I can just give you a couple of points, and that is, number one, we know that many people who have the virus are asymptomatic, which means that you can't tell who they are. That's one thing. The second thing is there's no adequate testing, so that there's no way to identify who they are. So if we're going to open things up and there's no adequate testing to solve this issue, so that if we're going to open up with none of those questions answered, we might as well not have done any of this in the first place.
Right.
We just crashed the whole economy. And then if we're going to halfway do it, we're going to be right back in the situation that we were in at first. So we should have just, like some people said, just let it ride and see what happens, which is also not a bright way to look at it. But to do all that we've done and then to open it back up too soon, can you imagine what happens when they send the kids back to school and COVID is running through schools and kids are laying out on the parking? The ramifications of this is so severe. I don't think, maybe people don't realize how many in our country, 60,000 people is, and the numbers are probably higher. And in some of the states that are reopening, their numbers are going up. I guess it's a testament of not really having leadership being firm and straight about this, but to physicians, healthcare workers, it's the most insane thing that you ever heard. None of the questions are answered. There's nothing we can do about this, and we're going to put ourselves right back in the danger they hit us the first time. It just baffles me.
Yeah, because you see some of the things, some of the numbers going up with, even if we look at Europe, some of the countries, they've opened back up and wait a minute, we've got another spike here, we've got another spike there. They've opened too soon, and a lot of it is around, and getting ahead of it.
There's another example in Japan where they jumped on it real early, shut things down. Everything looks better without proper testing. They open back up and they got a second wave, worse than the first. So, right. You might as well just call Como and say, don't tear none of them hospitals down. Keep all the ventilators, because if you open up too soon, you're going to need all that stuff and maybe more. So, it just doesn't make any sense to anybody with any knowledge. And I know that people don't understand virology and what this is all about. And if they can't understand the 60,000 people being there, it's like fill a football stadium and then just kill everybody. Maybe that'll give them the idea of how many people we're talking about that's dying from what the president says a common cold. And you can't see it, the invisible enemy. I mean, really? You want me to go back in somebody's store or restaurant or whatever, and everybody I'm looking at is a suspect because they can be carrying the virus? And then how are you going to clean things well enough so that every person that comes in there, if they leave something, you can make sure you clean it up? I mean, you just put yourself in a very precarious situation.
Wow. Well, Doc, one of the things that we saw, and also we've been joined by another doctor, Dr. Ronnie Hankins from the First Presbyterian Church of Odessa, Texas. He's going to fill us in on a couple of things as we move through this discussion. But as a lot of these places are thinking of reopening, I know that in Florida, the governor has a very grandiose plan of how he wants to accomplish this task. Now, one of the things that we just got from one of our callers just chatted that said that Florida also suppressed their numbers. And so that's something else that we have to keep in mind, too. But they've had at least some of the reporting that they had 350 new cases plus 47 new deaths. And yet Monday they want to open up every county in Florida except for Dade, Palm Beach, and Broward. And of course, as this thing has been progressing, we're getting the blame game, and this is the media's fault, and the media is hyping this thing up and so forth. But the numbers don't lie. As you said, 60,000 people is 60,000 people. Over 1 million people infected is over 1 million people infected. I don't care how you spin it or try not to spin it. But in Florida, what they want to do is they want to open up retail stores and restaurants. You can go in, but they can only be at 25% capacity. So I guess you'd have to know that if I have a capacity of 400 people, I can only allow in 25% of that. So I guess you have to figure that mathematics out before you go in. With some of the eateries,
100 people.
Right. So with some of the eateries, folks can eat outside at some of the various eateries. And, of course, elective surgeries may resume in Florida. And then, of course, in Dr. Hankins' state of Texas, they want to open for business on Fridays. And so they're going to open up retail stores, malls, restaurants, and theaters. And again, they can only hit 25% of their capacity, as well as allowing libraries and museums to open. Now,
don't forget the tattoo.
Right.
Don't forget the tattoo.
Yeah, very essential.
That's
right.
essential.
That's right. The tattoo parlors. So I guess my question for you, Dr. Albright, is, with those types of businesses being open, and I'm going to just assume for a minute that folks are wearing masks. Although what I've been seeing is as we had to go out and get those essential things, folks are not all masked out. So as we do that type of stuff, Dr. Albright, what are the chances that we're going to see this thing get even worse?
Well, like I said, number one, you must know that if your place holds 400 people and you put 100 people in there, things are going well.